So I'm Robert Kingi. I've been with SmartOSC for around 6 months now. I originally joined in September. When I joined SmartOSC, I joined as a pre-sales engineer. I'm currently working with Dung Bui. How do I pronounce? Dung Bui. And supporting the region of Australia in its growth, helping with sales, accounts, and then building up the solutions for our customers. I think in terms of when I first joined SmartOSC, I joined SmartOSC with about 18 years of experience working across about 8 different companies. I did my master's degree whilst working in this business, and after working there for about 11 and a half years, I had another large consultancy called Leverage Technologies, which poached me or hired me from this other business to go and consult with billion-dollar businesses on very large ERP technology systems. So when I first, even before I joined SmartOSC, I was working at another e-commerce agency called eWave. I'd been working at eWave for about 2 years, and they focus in Magento, PHP development, and have their resources in the Ukraine and Russia. And after I delivered on 3 very big projects there, I really wanted to find some other opportunity working in the Southeast Asian market. And it just so happened on the same week I was thinking about this, I had Lynn Tyson's executive assistant reach out to me about whether I'd be interested in working for SmartOSC. And that then developed into a conversation around assisting pre-sales and helping the whole pre-sales development grow up. Now, Tawan Tran Kong has been working with me very closely, and I apologize for my pronunciations. But as a solutionist, I've found that there's very few people that I will find that are as technically talented as that. And so for me, that was probably one big attraction. Another one for me was actually, I like working with a female manager above me. And so having Yung Bui there was actually an advantage to me. And there's also the interest of talking about big numbers too. So yes, I'd like to present solutions that are over $1 million in Australian dollars. And that for me is very exciting. And I think that SmartOSC gave me that opportunity. And that's why I continue to work here now. There was a lot of guidance I could gain from the upper management here, like Tyson and like the chairman and like many others. And there was also a need that I could serve very easily, and I like to be able to help. So the fact that I could really tied together quite well. There's probably several different advantage areas. If I used an example, Australia has a much different economical structure. Our government services are far more extensive, and they're generally taxing us a lot more money to give us these services. And these services will range from healthcare coming from the government as a tax subsidisation. They'll extend to support for when you don't have a job, where they'll give you a salary to continue to support you through your troubles or through hardship. There's a huge emphasis in the Australian market to really give back to the people, and so their tax is heavily justified by this. There's much more support for, say, education and more opportunity for education, and since there's a much smaller population, probably the biggest advantage for any Vietnamese person is that you have far less people competing with you, and it's far easier to accomplish more in an environment with less people there, right? In addition to just the working in the government services side, there's probably a lot of other environmental changes. Yes, we have some very dangerous insects and animals that people always talk about, like spiders and snakes that can kill you. But I've never personally been bitten by one. But there's many funny stories of that where people will say that they had a snake come out of their toilet and scare them, you know? So I think being in Australia, there's lots of very funny moments like that. It's far more diverse in cultures. I haven't been to too many other countries to compare, but I have seen almost every culture come to Australia and been able to experience how they see Australia too. and that ranges from a lot of Southeast Asian countries. And if I put it into my high school had like 10% Filipinos. There was a lot of Vietnamese. There was also Chinese. There was also Japanese. There was also a few white Australians as well, ranging from English and European backgrounds as well. So you end up getting exposed to far more cultures. And I think this really helps to develop more cultural intelligence and more respect for more cultures. And it extends to religion as well, where your high school will teach you a studies of religion to accept multiple different religions. So I've found even a love for small pieces of Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism, Christianity, Islam, all of it. And it's a great place to be able to extend your knowledge across so many other cultures in one country. So it is a land of opportunity in many ways. The currency is generally very strong in comparison to the Vietnamese dong. So there's a lot that even going there and coming back here is good for people. Yeah, so I think just as a general broad overview, it's far more diverse. There's definitely far more opportunity to earn more. If you have children, you can give your children better education. It's more available. And once you become a permanent resident, you can even have the government loan you the money for the education. And I think that's a huge advantage for people.